felt like he was speaking to me, so I had to have him. I probably need therapy or something, I don't know. My family calls it my superpower. It's my ability to see value in things that other people might overlook. Sometimes I go picking with my boyfriend, sometimes it's my best friend Sue, and sometimes it's my kids. But at the end of the day, it's all about having fun and hopefully just maybe making a profit. All right, well, out on the table here in front of me, I have everything from yesterday's shopping trip to the community aid where it was half off day. I don't usually go there on half off day because there's just so much chaos, and I try to avoid half off day. I'd rather pay full price and just have my space. But I braved half off day, and we actually made out pretty well. It started out slow, but things eventually picked up, and I think we did all right. So right now we're gonna talk about everything that we got, what we paid for it, and how much I can expect to get for it on eBay. So we're going to start with the figurines because as soon as we walked in, that was kind of the first thing we saw. So this is one of the first figurines that I grabbed. This is just a little baby donkey, and now what I didn't realize, and if you watched the video, you saw me pick up a bigger donkey that had a chipped ear, and I was kind of hemming and hawing about it, and because of the chipped ear, I ended up putting it back on the shelf. And what I realized when I was editing the video was that they probably went together. This was probably the baby, and that was probably the mother, and I made the mistake of putting it back on the shelf. But it did have a chipped ear, so what are you gonna do? I do have the baby donkey here. He's got a bee on his nose. He seems to be in a great deal of distress over it. I thought he was darling. So for this piece, I would expect to get probably $12 for him, 12 to 15. Now I will put my total spend up here because I have peeled off a lot of the stickers and I can't tell you exactly what I paid for this stuff, so I'll just give you a general idea up here. But one of the items I've peeled this sticker off of is actually the donkey. So I do believe I paid $6 for him, but it was only half off, so probably only $3. But anyway, I'll put the total spend up here because I don't know what I spent on everything. So okay, another one of the figurines we got was this little guy. He was just kind of cute. It's a little cat who appears to have tripped over his feet and landed with a heart on his head. There are no markings on it at all, but it was just kind of different. Never seen one like it before. For this, I would also expect probably to get 12 to 15 for this. And actually, now that I'm saying that, it actually sold for $12 today on eBay. I listed it as a buy it now. So that little Valentine's kitten already sold. Also, we've got our fat cat. I pick up these cats every time I come across them. I do suspect this may have been a paint-it-yourself ceramic cat because I do come across them in different colors with different colored eyes. So I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure that it may have been a kit where you could paint them yourself. Now he doesn't have any marks on him. He's not Holland mold, Atlantic mold, nothing like that. No signature or initials. But he is a fat cat and I really like him. For this cat, I would probably expect to get anywhere from $30 to $35 because it's a large figurine, a white Persian cat. He's just kind of charming. Juliet actually saw the fat cat on the table and was like, I like the fat cat, can I have it? And I've already got it listed, so I told her, no, I'm sorry, we've got like 7 fat cats in our house. We really don't need another one, but I told her that she could have this cat that I was hemming and hawing about. Well, I think I have serious issues. As a kid, before I went to bed, I had to like get all of my stuffed animals ready for bed because they were inanimate objects, but they were people. They had personalities, and I feel the same way about figurines. So I felt bad putting him back on the shelf. I felt like he was speaking to me, so I had to have him. I probably need therapy or something, I don't know. But Julia is going to end up with this little guy with the chipped ear and the yellow nose. I'm not really sure what would make his nose yellow, but she was pretty thrilled with that. Also, I think that, you know what, I think that's it for the figurine. From the figurines, we started heading over to the collectibles counter, but on our way we encountered lamps. And we encountered these delightful lamps, one of which is Santa Claus, and the other, if I can lift it up without dropping it, which is a snowman. So these actually have dates on them, which I did not realize until I got home and I had a closer look. They are marked 1984. So these are actually do-it-yourself ceramic kits. But the artist who painted these was just exceptional. And the reason I say that is because you can just see in Santa Claus's face that they actually toned the face. They used pink to kind of, you know, put blush on his cheeks. They put extra effort into it. It wasn't just, you know, they didn't just paint it real, because a lot of the times I come across these and they're super sloppy, but I was actually really impressed with the ways that these were painted. But they are missing a couple of the bulbs, and unfortunately I don't have the actual light apparatus that goes inside of them to light them up. So I really wish I did, because I'd love to see them lit up, but it's not going to happen. So I just listed them as is without the light on the inside, and with some of the bulbs missing. But I would love for them to be sold as a pair, but I'm not really sure. I know the snowman has some bids, but Santa Claus does not. So we'll see how that goes. For these, I would expect probably to get between 25 and 30, since they don't have their actual lamp apparatus, and because they're missing a couple bulbs. But these vintage ceramic trees and lights like this, I mean, they bring people back, and the 1980s stuff is really coming back into style, because people who are my age are starting to collect that stuff from when they were kids. So I feel good about these. But from the lamps, we moved into the collectibles area where we spotted the glassware. And I grabbed a couple glassware pieces. One of those being this bowl. Now, when I first spotted this bowl, I suspected that it might be Murano. But I got it home and I got looking at it a little bit more closely, and there's some things that kind of made me wonder if maybe it was not Murano. For instance, and I'm not gonna be able to pick this up in the camera, but there's this clear glass on the back of it, and there's just a lot of bubbles. And they're not controlled bubbles, they're not intentional bubbles. There's just a lot of bubbles. And Murano Artisans, I don't feel like, I mean, if there was one or two bubbles in there, but this is just a lot of bubbles. So I just don't know. So I listed this as a art glass bowl and not as a Murano bowl, but it does have the gold flakes in it. It's fun colors, fun bright colors. Unfortunately, it does have a chip that I did not notice when I was looking over the bowl. I was so intent on finding a crack that I was like, oh good, it doesn't have any crack. And the woman who works there says, yeah, but did you notice this chip? And I'm like, oh no. But I bought it anyway, just because I thought it was beautiful. And so I ended up with a bowl. I think I only paid like $7 for it. After the half off day, but I think I'm gonna do all right with that. I think I can at least get $25 for that, even with the chip. Without the chip, it would probably go quite a bit higher. And if I could say that it was Murano, it would probably go quite a bit higher than that, but I can't commit to that without knowing for certain. So it's just going to be an art glass bowl. Now this piece, we've got this faceted glass vase with a sticker on it that says made in Murano, Italy. So I don't believe that this is actually considered Murano glass. It is just made in Murano, Italy. It has the original sticker on the bottom, says Gigi DG Angeletti, and it's got an address on it. So at first I wondered if this was maybe the glass maker, but I realized that this is probably where this vase was sold. It's a really nice vase. It's in good condition. There are no chips or cracks in this piece, but there is a little bit of flea bites right along this edge, or that I noted in the listing. So for this piece, I'm not really sure how much I could get for this. I want to say it's going to be at least $25. So again, I'm going to make my money back. It's a really nice, pretty vase. The faceted vases, the ones that can actually be attributed to Murano, can go for hundreds of dollars, but I just can't. I think they're Sommerso. I don't know, I can't even say it. Mary, my admin of my Facebook group, is going to correct me in the comments. She knows Murano. She's like an expert on Murano, and I'm like, I don't know, Mary, is this Murano? Now this piece, I was pretty excited about. I wasn't sure if this piece was actually Finnish, like F-I-N-N-I-S-H, Finnish glass, from Finland. There is an artist who makes birds. Actually, it's an art glass house, I do believe, and it's called Tonka, I think is what it's called. And this looks so, it has such a close resemblance to the birds that they make there, but there is a signature on the bottom, and it just says Smith's 95. And a lot of the birds that are made at that specific glass house usually have the glass house on there with the artist's signature. So I'm not sure if this is just meant to look like one of their birds, but it looks like one of their birds. So similar to the Murano piece, because I cannot say for certain that this is one of their pieces, I will more than likely just list it as an art glass bird. But I just liked the lines. I thought it was pretty. What more can I say? I bought it. So for that piece, I don't know, without it being attributed to that art glass house, I'm thinking at least 25. So there you go. For each of my glass pieces, I'm going to get at least $25. From there, at the collectibles counter, we traveled back over to the shelves, and we found this. Now this is actually made by a company called Whitco, to believe, and some of their pieces can sell like for insane money, but the owl is not one of them. Some of their stuff, I was looking at the sold listings and sorting by highest, and some of their sold highest listings were just crazy. And so this is something I'm going to be looking for from now on. The owl is not one of the most desirable pieces that they do, probably one of the less desirable if you're starting from sold highest to lowest. This piece I would expect to get $15 to $20 for. So that's about what it's worth. Although I don't know, because all the ones that I found were just owls. They didn't have the moon. There was no moon and owl. So I don't know. Maybe it's one of those hundreds of dollars ones, but probably not. Probably not. That's just, I'm not that lucky. And then we grabbed this, which I just liked. I liked the scene. You know, we're going through a heat wave right now, and I thought, you know, that looks nice and cool, and I want to be there right now, just in the snow. Maybe for like 5 minutes, and then you can bring me back here where it's warm. But the artist is actually kind of well known, and their stuff is for sale on eBay right now. Some of their larger pieces sell pretty well. This is just a smaller piece, the wood carving, kind of a 3D wood carving wall art piece. This piece I would expect to get $20 to $25 for. So if you get a chance, you should go and check out some of his work. His name is Nadeau, N-A-D-E-A-U, and he's a Canadian artist. So I thought that was a neat piece, and I was pretty pleased to find that, you know, he actually has a history. Like, he's an established artist. So I would have loved the piece either way, but it was neat to find him online. So let's talk about our bookend. So I paid $2 for the bookend. I realized that somebody actually touched up the dog's ear. So this bookend, which I could have gotten probably 20 to 25 for, suddenly I can't get 20 to 25 for. So what I'm gonna do with this piece is I'm gonna list it real low on eBay, probably start it at $2 and just to get rid of it. But I don't know if it's gonna focus. You can see the dog's ear there, the one in front. Somebody touched it up with a permanent marker. That's why I didn't catch it. If it was just like a raw break, I probably would have noticed it. But it was touched up and I missed it. So that's unfortunate. But it happens to me a lot, so I'm used to it by now. Okay, what else do we need to talk about? We can talk about this little mouse on this present. I didn't realize it because it was taped shut, but it's actually a candle. The candle hasn't been lit, but it is a candle. For this piece, I would expect to get, I don't know, like 10 bucks. And I think that's what I have it listed for on eBay right now. About 10 bucks. It's just a little vintage mouse. There are no marks on it. I'm thinking probably Japan, more than likely. Let's talk about our plates. Plates are fun. Okay, so these plates are made by West Elm, and like a quick story. I've been looking for a new TV stand. I need a new TV stand because I acquired a TV by no fault of my own that is very large and it doesn't fit on my current setup. So I had to get a new TV stand. And when I was looking for TV stands, I was looking for a mid-century TV stand, and I wandered onto this website called West Elm. And on this website, they had these amazing mid-century like television stands, but they're thousands of dollars, and then it's like hundreds of dollars to ship them. And I'm like, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But West Elm is the company who makes these plates. So suddenly it all came together when I was editing the video. I'm like, oh, West Elm, okay, now I get it. So they're the company that make these plates. These are the owl plates. They make plates, I believe they're like dapper animals, and they're like animal heads, but they're wearing like suits and like real, like, they're just all dressed up. And they're the funniest, but they can sell for like crazy money. Like, they're collectible plates and crazy money. The owls like don't sell for that crazy, but this plate right here sells for about $18 sold. So $18, that's what it sells for. I did take the tape off, and I found that the other two plates in this stack are also owls, but I could not find these plates on eBay. So I'm not sure how much these would fetch. I mean, obviously they're not dressed up owls, they're just regular owls, so they may not go for as much as the fancy dress owls, but I'm thinking at least $18 a piece for these, which is all right. Although, however, I just noticed that this owl, you know what, somebody actually used these plates. These plates have some scratch marks on it. So unfortunately, maybe not 18, maybe 18 is a little bit optimistic, because it looks like these were actually used. Somebody actually used these plates because there's scratch marks, like utensil marks on them. So maybe more like 12 to 15 a piece. But when you only pay like $1 a piece, it doesn't matter. Okay, these here are holly plates. They have holly on them. They are made in Italy. I'm not sure how much these would go for. I paid $3 for this set. It's 2 different plates. I suspect they're just mostly, personally, if I was to hold on to these, which I'm not going to do, I hold on to enough stuff, I would use them just, you know, if I was gonna have a holiday party, I would put cookies on them or something. But they are made in Italy, which makes them nice. I love made in Italy. When it's not too gaudy, you know, because some of that Italian Rococo is like, whoa, look at that, will ya? But this isn't, except for somebody's tinsel is stuck to it. So it's a little bit like, wow, look at that, but it's not plate's fault, it's the tinsel's fault. Holding the tinsel. Okay. The Afghan, ooh, we got this Afghan. I just about freaked out when I was in the aisle and there was a lady in the next aisle, and if you watch the video, you hear me apologize because she kind of gave me this like look like, what? And I was like, I'm sorry. I just got really excited when I saw this Afghan. So a couple of people suggested this may be a poinsettia and may actually be a Christmas Afghan. It's completely possible. Normally I see these called rose, 3D rose, but I believe this is what you would call a granny square because it is a square and they just stitch together all of the squares. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a lot of people who watch my videos who crochet, so I'm always open to their correction. But I'm pretty sure that's what this is. And now this piece, I'm thinking I can at least get $35 for this. At least 35. These tend to sell pretty well, these 3D Afghans. But what's weird about this one is it's only 31 inches long, which isn't very long at all. So that's 3 squares. And I'm thinking it probably goes on the back of a couch. It would probably go on the back of a couch. It wouldn't really necessarily be a blanket, but more of like a couch accoutrement. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, and what are we missing? We're missing our house. I'm not really sure why I bought this. I think it was again because we're going through this heat wave and I saw some place that looked cold. And I was like, you know, I'd love to be there right now. And so I'm going to imagine that I'm there in these places where it's not really hot. So I'm almost wondering as I was looking at this, if it's not part of a train setup. Andrew's really been into trains lately and it's got me like thinking differently about things. It's possible that this is for like a train setup. Or maybe it's just some Christmas decoration, I don't know. It looks like it's those styrofoam blocks that somebody just decorated and created a cabin. I paid $3 for this, and if I don't keep it, which I'm thinking I'm probably gonna keep it because Andrew bought a train set for under our Christmas tree, and I think this would look cool. If I don't keep it, I would expect to probably get like $20 for it. So, I don't think we talked about how much I could pay for the Italian plates. See, I always like get ahead of myself. For these, I would expect to get $25 to $35 for these because they're made in Italy. So, lastly, I got this guy. And I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do with him. I didn't really think I was gonna resell him. I'm probably not. I'm probably gonna gift him to somebody. He seems like a giftable thing. But I could just imagine a little tea light in there and he just like stares at you with this creepy mouth. So I think that's like pretty much everything that we got. And my camera's about to turn off because we're about to hit 23 minutes. So here we go. I'm gonna restart it. All right, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that we got in yesterday's shopping video. We did really well, and you know, maybe half off day isn't as bad as I thought it was. I might have to do it a little bit more often because we got some really good stuff, and to only have to pay, I think it was $48 for all of this. It was kind of like, whoa, 48 bucks, that's it? So I'm gonna have to do it more often and just suck it up and deal with it, but yeah. I guess that's really it. I will see you all tomorrow. Later. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you've spotted something that you just can't live without, don't worry. I've put a link to our Etsy store down in the description.